Okay, so without further ado, I'm not going to say much because I've been explicitly told not to say much. This is Adam. Please take it away, Adam.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Let me just go here. So, a warning to everyone: this is not a technical presentation. It's more just a bit of experience that. Oh no, that's not it. Just bear with me a second.
Well, I'll chime in on this because
Thanks.
I get asked all the time about going off and, creating your own business and what tips. So this is very relevant, and I know lots of people are interested in what does it take? What do you need to do? How much courage does it take to actually take that step?
Yeah. And honestly, this is just my experience in it as well. And Shana, I know you're experienced in taking that first step. So my hope is that this talk will at least convince one of you in the audience to go and leave your job and try and start your first company, which would be awesome. A few caveats to get going is this is my experience. Your experience in starting your own business might be very, very wildly different to mine. I'm not an entrepreneur at all. I just saw a problem that I thought needed to be solved. I actually had to spell check that. This was I put this together a couple of weeks ago, but the world's changing so quickly with COVID-19 that it's quite concerning. So who knows what happens next? But and this is not applying specifically to information security or cyber. You can apply this pretty much to any business. And as I mentioned, it's not a technical talk. Who am I? I'm a husband primarily. I'm 2 months away from having a little baby girl, which I'm super excited about. It's like all your Christmases and birthdays come into one. I like beer, very much so. I'm a Sydney Swan supporter, runner, and I play COD really late at night, which my wife loves. I started at InfoSec in about 2001. I was in Army Signals, spent a lot of time in special operations, looked at crypto, cypher, RF, studied international relations, not incident response at university as well, worked in DoD, Telstra, US Department of State and Department of Defense as well. But I founded Paraflare in 2016 with Frank. If you're listening, Frank, shout out to you, who's got a very similar background to myself. And Shana and Dan from Catcher joined the team this year, which is really, really exciting. So Paraflare is pretty much an MDR company, digital forensics instant response, which means we never really sleep, based out of Sydney in Surrey Hills. So really quick overview, why you should go and start your own business. It's, there's cash involved, there's purpose, people, tools, ownership, coming back to the cash and where you can get information and local information. So everyone thinks that starting a business is going out and getting the money, like lots and lots of money. I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. The reality is that you are probably going to take a pretty significant pay hit with your venture. So, 60% of the time, cash is not the reason. Expect to take a major pay hit, and I'll talk about problem solving next. The reason why you'll take a pay hit is because you want to reinvest money back into the business. You would rather not pay yourself, $100,000 a year and pay yourself $50 because you want to buy $50,000 worth of technology. Bootstrapping is, I reckon, you do it as long as you possibly can, which is, reinvest your time and your money back into the business instead of going out and getting your seed funding or whatever type of funding. The reality around cash is it's pretty high risk. You could have a cushy job in name multinational or a large organisation, or you could go out and take a risk and start your own business. But it's a high-ish reward, and I say that's high-ish. The odds are against you, and the future is unwritten. So, in summary, it's not really about the cash. It's really about going out and getting it, which is why you should start your own business. And it's the main reason why you should start your own business. You want to take all of your skills and solve problems, and solve major problems. You want to solve problems that people have within a certain industry. I mean, most of us work in information security, but there are problems all the way around the world. So if you can solve a problem and you think you can do it and you're passionate about it, I really implore you to go ahead and do it. And it's pretty exciting to do so because you're taking a leap of faith, you're trying something new, and it's scary. And that's part of the fun. That's why it's high risk and high reward. But just with problems, just be wary of creating a solution to a problem that either doesn't exist or it only exists in a really small material size. So, I mean, I've got a problem, but I'm one person. If you create a solution and spend tens of thousands of dollars creating a solution for me, but I'm not going to buy that solution, then it's kind of pointless. Just check your addressable market as well. So if you think you've found a problem that you can solve through creating a business, which is fantastic, just check to see if it's big enough, see if the addressable market is big enough, or if lots of people are trying to solve that same problem and it's really, really crowded, which is going to impact your cash as well. But this is why I really started the business of Paraflare. I think we're solving a problem, but we get to work with people we want to work with, which is my personal favorite. You can hire who you want to hire. You can work with who you want to work with, if you can afford them and if you can pay for them. We'll talk about ownership and partnerships in a second, but if you can bring people on board that are pulling in the same direction, that's fantastic. You can implement a policy that has no idiots in it. You can say that, look, I don't want to work with that particular individual or that company, or I don't want to service that customer because of ethical reasons, or you just, they really treat you poorly. So you've got that flexibility and that opportunity. The other thing is that you can get the right sort of people around you. You don't have to have someone breathing down your neck, and you don't have to have people in your business that are just saying yes all the time, but really not outputting. Another good reason around starting your own business is partnerships. We've got some really great partnerships with businesses that don't do what we do, and we don't want to do what they do. IT service providers or consultants. No one business can do it all, and that's really important to remember. It all comes back to making sure you've got the right people in the team. Another quick point that I've learned is don't hire someone unless there's an energy level alignment, an outlook alignment, and hire really slowly. If someone's going to be joining or wants to join the business really, really quickly, that's great. Everyone's excited, but just be methodical about it and think about, the people around you, because you want to have a team growing instead of a transient team. Another point around people is yourself as well, which is expect to moonlight, which means expect to be working for different organizations around the clock, and just be unashamed about it. Frank and myself and a number of our team, we moonlighted when we started Paraflare. We worked with a client and then we worked on Paraflare at night. It's just the way that you need to make and start a business. And expect to wear multiple hats, both in and out of the business as well. You're basically going to be the accountants, you're going to be legal, you're going to be HR, you're going to be marketing and sales, all in one individual when you first start a business. And you've just got to be aware of what those individual components are. Noting we've got a pretty techie audience, there's probably one huge benefit, which is you can choose the tools you want to use, which is pretty cool, right? You can say that you want to use, I don't know, Velociraptor over something else, which I'd recommend. Or you can use a different sort of tool in order to achieve some aims, which is fantastic. But a couple of points that we've learned over the years, which is get the tools working for you, not you working for the tools. So choose something that makes you perform better and get that tool to work for you and your customer. There's plenty of tools that can buy tools. It's just the way that you use them that really counts. This includes technology partnerships, just making sure you're talking to whoever's creating the tool set. I know Michael Cohen from Velociraptor is really passionate about that, for example. Talk to the people that are really passionate about the tools that they use. And the customer will let you know what they want anyway, mostly. If you come with a product that they're not familiar with, you're going to find it really, really difficult to sell the use of that product unless it does something really, really fantastic. One thing that we've been pretty good with is having less tools and more hacking of those tools. So out of the box, a tool can do something, but if you think about it harder, you could probably get it to do something it wasn't designed to do just by, making it with another product or expanding it to, consume different data or however it is. Just think outside the box when it comes to the tool itself. It just equals tech sprawl. If you have more tools, you become an integrator and you have lots and lots of technical debt within the organization as you grow. So just be aware of keep the tools to a minimum and try and use the tools to the best possible means. Just check your basic setup. It's usually pretty feature rich, and choose your core platforms and keep them sorted and just stick with them. Don't throw them away straight away. Think about their roadmap, think about where they're going. But at the end of the day, you get to choose what sort of tools you want. Another last point is just be careful of the shiny widget that takes your attention away from the main focus. Back to the first point, you want to get the tech working for you, not you working for the tech. And by something shiny that comes along and you spend 15 hours deving something out, it's probably going to set you back and you go, great, understood that piece of technology, but it's how is that really achieving what you need to do? Probably need to get more sales. Ownership side, which is really important for businesses. People get really caught up on this. This is just my experience and how I started out with Paraflare with Frank is, if you start out uneven, you'll continue uneven. So if someone comes into a business and says, I'm going to own 51% of the company and you're going to own 49, it just doesn't work. Just go in 50-50. You'll find that it just takes the stress out of the situation and decisions and you work better together. Trios, same deal. Go thirds. If you're 4 people going into a business, go quarters. Just keep it even. You just don't need the nonsense of worrying about whether someone's going to vote you down or anything like that. You want to grow and provide solutions for your customers. Expect to dilute as well if you want to grow harder and faster. This is all the seeds, angel, Series A, etc. I don't really subscribe too much with that like the nomenclature around what is a Series A or Angel Series or whatever. The simple fact is if you need capital to grow or you need capital to enhance the business or get your first office or hire some key talent or whatever it is, you're going to have to release some of your equity. The chances of you getting a loan with a business that's only a year or 2 old from a bank or anywhere else is quite low. It's mostly equity. But in saying that, just keep a watch out. There's earnbacks, there's options, there's warrants, there's all sorts of other things that you can work into some of those rounds where, if you hit certain things in the future and you're growing hard, maybe you can get some of that equity back. So just keep those on the table. You can't eat equity. Someone said this to me, I think it was about 3 years ago, which is a really good point. It sort of goes back to the cash discussion before. You can still own, say, 100% of a company, but you can't put dinner on the table with that equity. So you've got to have cash at some stage. There are things within the business that you can do, like executive share schemes or employee share schemes, to incentivize people to join the business at a lower price or a lower cost. They're really, they can be quite handy and valuable, but you just need to have good advice and have people around you that are not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. The key point here is that if you're going to use that sort of equity, use it really sparingly, where cash is more important today than it is into the future. So there's a bit of detail in that statement, but just be aware that there are mechanisms to get really interesting, smart, chairmen of boards and directors and C-level people to join the business that you don't have to outlay the cash up front. Just to go back on cash burn, and this is something that a lot of businesses get caught out on. You can see on the right there's like the valley of death where you're making a complete loss. That's a lot of businesses for the first couple of years. Expect that things will take twice as long and cost you twice as much. Just use that as a basic principle and basic rule. That'll keep you out of a bit of trouble. So you just need to watch your cash burn and see how much you're spending per month versus what you're making. And you really need to create scenarios to think through the worst and best case in things. So let's say you've come up with a brilliant idea. You've got the solution to a problem that's really widespread. You think you can solve it. You've sort of solved it. I've come up with some scenarios where you've gone, well, this is the worst case that only 5% of those people pick it up, and this is the absolute best case that 50% of the people pick it up. Do some scenarios and think about what your risk tolerance is. And just on that, financial modelling, which is sort of feeding from the above point, it's just that, it's a model. The future is very unknown. If COVID-19 is anything to go by, the financial modelling that Paraflare did a couple of years ago never took into consideration COVID-19. It's just one of those things that it is a model and you've got to treat it as such. It's the way in which you go about managing your cash, which is key. The other one is don't fly too close to the sun. And what I mean by that is that you don't want to run your bank account down to near zero as you're operating. You want to make sure you always have cash available. You don't want to be in a position where you can't pay your staff, you can't pay yourself, you can't pay some of your suppliers because you just run it really close. So your financial modelling and your scenarios really need to go into that. Resources and people, really just ask the community. There's plenty of founders within the community that have seen good businesses, have had mistakes made. You asked me, I've made a few mistakes in my time at Paraflare, but they're the sorts of things that let's just watch out for. And just ask, reach out. Pretty much everyone's on Twitter or Slack or wherever. Please feel free to just ask. Cyber's pretty good. They're looking to grow the ecosystem. I know Michelle Price is really, really keen for that to happen. There's lots of people around AusCyber. Just get involved. Cyrise, again, the same deal. It's a bit of an accelerator program. reach out to either myself or Shana. Shana went to SciRise, for example. There's lots of people that have gone to that, even some of the speakers are going to the next cohort of SciRise. It's really important that just because you're not a widget doesn't mean you can't learn the core principles of business and learn how to scale. There's lots of state government incentives as well. I'm looking at the time, I've got 30 seconds. State government incentives, your accountant and lawyers, they're really good points of reference. Get someone that's independent as well, that can really look after you as individuals. And Google, seriously, there's so much information on there. So why should you go get it in summary? It's not about the cash, really, it's about solving problems. If you solve big problems, however, you end up with cash. You know, take BugCrowd and Casada, they're solving big problems and it's got wide applicability. You know, that's how you can, you know, set yourself up for the future. You spend more time at work mostly, so spend it with people that you like. That's the reason why I started Parafleet. It's because you want to work with people that have, you know, the same drive and the same outlook, and they're just good people. Choose your own tech journey. Yep, you can do this as well, but it will also depend on the customer as well. So going back to, you know, solving problems, if the customer doesn't like the sound of that piece of technology, then you're going to have a hard time running uphill. Just watch out for ownership, share rights, and watch out for sharks as well. They're out there. And reach out to people if you're thinking about starting up. Get some advice. There's certain ways to start up businesses and there's certain ways not to start up businesses. Just reach out. So overall, hope that has helped at least one of you out there that's maybe thinking about it, maybe thinking about going to, you know, start up their own business and go and get it.
No, that's fantastic, Adam. Thank you very much for going through all that. I know there's a lot of people who want to kind of do their own thing. They don't want to have to deal with certain clients because, you know, you might have issues with them, or you want to work with good people and you're not in control of that. So I think it's quite relevant for a lot of people at the moment. Yeah. So thank you very much for that.
No, thanks for having me.
No worries.